Major League Baseball announced yesterday that it was aware of the situation where Bryce Harper told a local radio station in Philly that he would definitely call Mike Trout in 2020 when Trout is scheduled to be a free agent. Major League Baseball said it spoke to both the Phillies and Angels about Harper's comments, and yesterday Harper stood by his original stance.
He talked to me a little bit, not MLB or anything like that, but, you know, I guess when that time comes and guys are free agents, and we'll see what happens, but I don't know. I mean,
but you meant it, right?
I mean, if I didn't mean it, I wouldn't have said it, you know, so.
All right, for more, let's welcome in Buster Olney. He's coming at us from Red Sox camp in Fort Myers. We'll get to that in a second. But what more can you tell us about the reaction, Buster, around baseball to Harper's comments about Mike Trout?
Yeah, Lauren, talking with Major League Baseball officials and talking with club executives, they say that when a player does something like this, it's like one team lobbing a grenade into the middle of the other team's training camp. Yesterday, the Angels having to deal with this. Mike Trout answering questions about it, saying, hey, I can't control that. And baseball doesn't like that potential chaos. I got to tell you, though, I do wonder if big picture, if it would be better for baseball to simply tell players, hey, you know what? Those tampering rules, they apply to executives, but don't worry about it, players. If you want to go on social media and recruit other players, why not? It generates so much conversation and so much interest, you know, talking about this the last 24 hours. And you know, and I know, Laura, it goes on all the time anyway, where players are standing by the batting cage saying, hey, why don't you come over here and join us? We'd love to have you on the team. Those conversations are going to take place whether the rules or not.
Yeah, exactly. If we think that this isn't happening, then we're all stupid. So let's talk about the world champions, the reigning world champs, the Red Sox, with the logo right behind you. Dustin Pedroia played just 3 games last season, recovering from that left knee surgery. He's set to make his spring debut today. What can you tell us about the Red Sox confidence in the veteran second baseman to contribute for real this season?
And I just talked to Dustin a little while ago. He's going out to the batting cage, and I said, you still a go for today? He said, yep. Alex Cora plans to play him 2 defensive innings and then 1 plate appearance, which tells you how they're going to bring him along slowly. Pedroia, in the prime of his career, was a 162-game-a-year guy. I think if they got 100 games out of him, 120 games out of him, they would be thrilled with that because of the defense he would bring. And Alex talked yesterday about how they want to have Dustin Pedroia change some of the things he does. And I wonder, we've always, loved his little crow hop between pitches. If that's one of those things where maybe that goes away for the sake of keeping him healthy for the whole year.
Yeah, we would miss that hop a little bit, but I understand. Thanks so much, Buster Olney, for being with us. And today, we'll have more Grapefruit League baseball for you when the Twins take on the Red Sox in that Commissioner's Cup in Fort Myers. Of course, you will see Dustin Pedroia. That's at 1 Eastern right here on ESPN. You can always watch that anywhere on the ESPN app. Greeny.
All right, back to basketball. I don't want to sound alarmist here, but the Warriors have not looked good lately. Tuesday, the Celtics blew them out. After the game, Steve Kerr had some criticism about his team. And then Kevin Durant heard about it, and he seemed to take issue with what his coach said. Listen to this.
It starts with a passion and an anger and an intensity. And it wasn't there tonight.
I thought we move off of joy. I mean, now anger.
That's what your coach said.
Oh, okay. I disagree with that one. I mean, we just got to, I think all around, top to bottom, coaches, players, we just got to be better.
So Chris Haynes from Yahoo was in the locker room during Durant's post-game comments, and he wrote, during that display, it was impossible not to conclude that Durant intentionally took a swipe at his coach. The individuals in the locker room were stunned with his comments. From the moment Durant took his seat, his demeanor was of someone prepared to go on the attack. So you put that together with the fact that they aren't playing very well right now, by their own standards at least, and you wonder, is something going on here? Do we think something, Ryan Russillo, I'm looking right at you. Is something going on?
Guys are in the locker room stunned. I mean,
they were stunned.
Wrong word.
Look, it's a semantics thing. I understand Kerr's point. Let's get some anger. And he's like, so I don't know. I mean, I don't know this. He's like, oh, it's definitely a Nick now. Definitely a Nick. They don't play great defensively this year. They've always been a great defensive team. It's very obvious when you watch them. The Celtics came out and showed a little bit of fight. They haven't had Clay. I got to see, maybe I'm just hard to impress, Greeny, but I have to see you be really great for a couple weeks to buy in or really bad for a couple weeks, and they're not bad enough yet for me to be off of them. I know.
This is what's happening. You were laughing at this, what we're talking about.
Because this is what is happening in our country with discourse. It has to be black or white. There's no gray area. They just disagreed. It doesn't mean that they're not number one in the West. You know what that means? It means that they have 20 games left to go in a regular season, and they're getting ready for the playoffs, and maybe they got their tail whipped, but still, they're going to be the Golden State Warriors. When they get Klay Thompson back, they'll be a better team. They'll be fine.
Here's what it is, investment. And for Steve Kerr, he understands that the Splash Brothers want to be there as long as possible. For KD, what were you talking about during All-Star Weekend? We were talking about, do he and Kyrie want to team up? So now all of a sudden, hey, what does it mean if they're having dinner in Miami, right? Who were they playing that night? The Celtics. The Celtics beat the brakes off of the Golden State Warriors. Right after the game, I can promise you, all of the players on the Golden State Warriors team did not like KD shucking and jiving with Kyrie and Jason Tatum on the floor right after the game, after they got beat the way they did. So now you get into the locker room, those guys still feel some type of way. See, here's what happens. When they have that dinner meeting in Miami, we can overinflate it or dismiss it as media members all we want. But let's not forget, they got to walk back into those locker rooms. And when you walk back into that locker room, you're not even apologizing for it. Okay? So now all the guys like, oh, you ain't really bought in. They might be going to New York. Okay, well, go ahead.
Yeah.
That's how that comes off.
But the thing is, like, whenever we start examining all this stuff, like who's to blame, and if you're my teammate, like, you shouldn't be doing that, you don't think these dudes are reaching out to Durant that are in that locker room with him now when Durant was in OKC? So, like, what are you going to do? Like, are you going to get mad that he's hanging out with Kyrie now?
It's also worth pointing out that they are trying to win their third straight championship. There have been teams that have won 3 straight championships. There have been very few that have won 4. Because when you keep something together and it's that successful, there's a lot of pressure that comes in from the outside, and eventually it explodes. Shaq and Kobe didn't get to 4. The Jordan Bulls never got to 4, because when you become the Beatles, which these guys are, the Warriors are the Beatles, there's a lot of external pressure.
You're also not as locked in, too. Like, you watch, like, they know what the test is. So all these quizzes along the way, they're not going to take them as seriously.
But, and the same thing we've said about Kyrie and how he's handled the media scrutiny is the same thing that KD's been handling it the exact same way. Those two guys basically do the same press conferences now.
All right, I have to go to a break here. There's just so much to say on this day, and we will continue saying it as we get into our next hour. We'll talk about LeBron making history, passing Jordan last night on a terrible night for the Lakers. Was this a new low? You will see it next.